Drum roll, please. Welcome back. Welcome, everyone. Happy New Year, and welcome to our first For Fork's Sake of the new year. We're excited to be back, and we're going to go for our usual. We're going to go around. Everyone's going to introduce themselves, and today we're talking about weight loss surgery. So our fabulous guest. Oh, goodness. That's the recording playing.
Sorry, I'm double
playback.
Stereo, we're in stereo.
Yeah.
So I mean, and Amanda, we're gonna listen to your stories. Usually we have 5 people. Usually we have a couple of people that have experiential evidence or clinical experience or clinical experience. And then we have an expert in the field, either an academic or a professional in the field. But we didn't feel like we needed an expert in the field at this time because you two ladies are the experts on your own life. So we're just going to get it straight from the horse's mouth. Exactly.
I gave myself permission to tell my story.
There you go. There you go. And to validate it as your authentic lived experience.
We'll see how many
so
my authentic lived experience.
I'll start.
Oh, did she freeze?
She froze right in the middle of an introduction.
But she looked so excited about it. Who else wants to go? Oh, she's back.
Is she back?
Dawn, you froze for a minute. We missed whatever you just said.
I sure did. I was just about to introduce myself, but you want me to go? Okay, quick. While I'm here, I'm Dawn or Sam Alden, and Danny and I started For Fork's Sake back in July, and I am an actress and producer and stunt coordinator out here in sunny Los Angeles. Not so sunny today. Very, very strange. And I'm really excited to be doing this with Danny because I've always been interested in women and body politics and how that influences all areas of our lives, and wanted to sit and chat with women about it. And the internet has made it possible for me to do that with women all over the world. So I am eating tonight. Oh, I'm very excited about this. It's artichoke season in LA.
Straight from the garden?
It's like the size of my head. It's an artichoke.
That's normal size for us, Dawn.
And I have a little balsamic vinaigrette that I made myself, so I'm going to be eating that and getting very messy hands. And then to add to that, I have a little bit of risotto that I made. It is Meyer lemon, because lemons are also in season right now in LA. Meyer lemon and rose risotto.
Delish.
Yeah, it's really pretty good. Go.
I'll go. I'm Danny Bryant here in Chicago, the founder of Knife and Fork, and we are a theater company that is committed to telling stories about food and the body. I ran to the kitchen and whipped up a little pasta dish, and it's over greens, and there's a little cheese on there. But I'm just so happy to be here, and I love sharing stories and talking about this stuff and building community around these subjects. Who's next?
I'll go. I am Amanda Sidwell-Smith. I actively chose when I got married to give myself the initials of ASS because it really kind of defines who I am. I am a writer. I do mostly comedic stuff, in case you can't tell. I am a born and bred LA native. I grew up on the beach across the street from LAX, and I was the crazy person who said, "This is too much sun," went to Boston for 4 years, and then came back, and I spent the last decade working in television, and now I'm finally writing for myself.
Woohoo!
Nice, good for you.
And then eating. I have strawberries. I have strawberries because I've been cleaning all day, and realized I just ate a sandwich about an hour ago, and I was like, I just can't. I can't make another meal.
What kind of sandwich did you eat?
The sandwich that I made, there's a farmer's market in my hometown every week, and the bread man, literally, we don't know what his name is. He only refers to himself as the bread man. Has these beautiful, beautiful, like 7 different types of sourdough. So I had it on vegetable sourdough with all sorts of peppers and stuff, and then I had a garlic bean paste that I made, and then just stacked it all up with veggies because I'm a vegetarian.
Nice.
Yum.
Yum. All right, Avita, go for it.
Hi, I'm Avita Lazo, and I'm also an actress here in LA. And I'm still having a hard time saying that. I kind of feel like I should be doing more before I say that. But it's actually my third career because I started off as a nurse, then I was an attorney. So now this is like my third career, but it's actually my love. So that's why I'm going back to it. What I did was I made some pasta too today, and whole wheat pasta with ground turkey, carrots, celery, a little tomato, and jalapenos because I like spice.
Love it.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, it sure does.
I'm going to be loud and open my thing. Everybody get ready. Here we go. Woo!
Nice.
Now it's time to party on a Wednesday.
That's right. Now it's a party.
Here.
Oh, and the other thing I'm doing, because I'm definitely I have multiple personalities, and I don't mean that in the medical sense. The other thing I'm
Or you could. We don't judge.
I might. Oh. I'm also working on writing a book idea I've had for a long time. I've always been a big sci-fi, science fiction literature fan, and so that's what I'm working on now. And I joined a writing group to get my butt in gear to get it done.
Yeah.
Accountability, man.
Exactly. Exactly.
All
Very-
right. So, in between bites here, so let's talk about weight loss surgeries. What prompted you to finally go ahead and have this procedure? Well, let's start with that. Let's do leading up to. What was your decision process, and why did you choose this as what you thought would be the right thing for you?
Well, for me, who's
Oh,
going?
go ahead, Avita.
Oh, okay. Well, for me, it's been a long journey. I was definitely an overweight kid, so I've been on every diet imaginable for years and years, and my weight always went up and down, up and down. But then after 40, it just kept going up and up and up. There was no more downs. So, and then I started having to take medication, and so I started looking into the lap band, and I did research on that, but the more I read about it, it didn't seem to be as helpful as I was hoping it would be. And then this procedure came up called the sleeve gastrectomy, which is basically they cut your stomach in half. That's basically what it is.
Okay.
Sleeve
And-
is the later technique, correct? It was introduced later than like the Roux Y.
Yes, it came out. Yes, this one was after. Exactly.
Mhm.
And I didn't really want to do the Roux Y because I have an aunt who did it, and she's had so many issues, so I thought, no, that just wasn't for me. So I decided to do this, and mainly it was because of my blood pressure and my blood sugar going up. So I thought I weighed the risk of those continuing to get out of whack as opposed to the risk of surgery. So I thought, I felt that the surgery it was time for me to do something, and that's what I did. And at this point, I'm still losing weight, but I have been able to keep weight off for, let me see, the last year and a half, which for me was not happening before.
That's awesome.
How long ago did you have this surgery?
It will be 2 years this April.
Okay. And you mentioned that your aunt had a different surgery and she had problems. What kind of problems did she have?
She's one of the people that had those early bypass. I think they've improved it since then, but she
Mhm.
had it like 10 years ago or so, and she's had problems with uh, getting a proper nutrition, and then on top of it, I don't think she really followed the program because she ended up gaining a lot of the weight back,
Okay.
which at the time when she did it, I didn't realize that with the gastric bypass you could gain the weight back, but somehow or another that does happen, and I
Yeah.
learned
But
that.
with determination, it happens.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So unfortunately for her, that's what happened.
Okay. How about you, Amanda?
I can actually probably speak a lot more to the complications from what it sounds like Avita's aunt had, which is Roux-en-Y gastric
Mhm.
bypass. And it was funny because she said, "Oh, it was about 10 years ago." Well, my 9-year anniversary of having this surgery is next week.
Wow.
So it just kind of made me laugh.
Oh,
And just so people understand what that is, Roux-en-Y, they, similar to the gastric sleeve, they section off the stomach, except it's in much different scale. The stomach that you have to actually intake food is going to be about the size of an egg to begin with. It naturally stretches over time, and then the rest of the gastric juice is left in the other part of the stomach. Then they take a piece of your intestine and reroute it to bypass a part of the intestine. So basically, the gastric juice from one side of your stomach and the food that's in the pouch kind of do this little Y thing that when they meet, that's when the food actually begins to digest. So what happens when one of the most common side effect of that is malabsorption, which means
Right.
you don't get the nutrition you need, you don't get the vitamins you need. You have to stay on a really, really strict diet of supplements and foods. You have to reteach yourself how to eat. And for me, like the only complication I had in the beginning was dehydration, believe it or not,
Interesting.
because you can't chug water
right.
like you used to, or like I have since been able to do again in the past couple of years, which, yes, I love water. Um, so I,
Here in California, where dehydration is a problem.
yeah, there you go. And so then what started to happen is I landed in the hospital once because I was dehydrated to the point where I was delirious and I was wandering the street not knowing what day it was.
Oh my God.
Which that was fun. Luckily, I wandered like towards the emergency room, so I think in some part of my brain I knew something was wrong, but it was very hard to tell them what the problem was.
Mm.
And then by about 6 months afterwards, I started throwing up a lot, a lot, here there's, I mean, it's gross. You're throwing up. Of course, it's gross. But the
Right.
thing is at least nothing's digested, and you're just kind of like, oh, I guess carrots don't agree with me.
Oh God.
I can't believe I'm talking about this while you're all eating. Um, and the thing is I started out extremely obese, very, very obese. I was 365 pounds when I did my surgery. So when you stretch the abdominal wall that much,
Mhm.
you're naturally going to fill in some of those holes with fat pockets, which leads to lots and lots and lots of hernias, as I found out.
Oh my
I actually had, yeah, I had 4 emergency hernia surgeries between 2007 and 2010. And then in June of 2010, I had what's called a strangulated hernia, which means some of my intestine passed through my abdominal wall,
God. Right.
folded on itself, got stuck, said, we don't need blood or oxygen. Let's fish suckers. So it killed itself inside my body, and I had no idea
Right.
until I flatlined in an emergency room.
Right.
And
Because it's septic by that point.
because at that point, not only do I have necrotic tissue, I had blood sepsis. It was filtering down into my aorta. It really is like the textbook case of a nightmare scenario of what can happen with gastric bypass. That being
Right.
said, I don't think I ever would have changed doing it.
Really?
Nope. I originally did it because I could not, as much as I had tried everything, I couldn't see living the life that I felt I could and that I wanted to without doing it, and mine ended up being a time crunch because I did it when I was 25, and at 26 I was going to be off my parents' insurance. So it was like, well, if I'm ever going to do this, it better be now or never. And at that time, it was still very easy, actually, to get, well, not easy, but it was easier to get it approved if it was already part of your insurance plan.
Okay. Wow.
So on that cheerful note.
Yeah, right?
Just to kind of rephrase what you just said, even after all the complications, you still don't have a regret about doing it.
No.
Because how are you now? Like, what's going on now with your body? Have the complications subsided, or, is it something that you're still dealing with?
Is this the kind of show where I can show you guys my scar?
Yeah.
Heck yeah, you can.
Yeah, does everyone like put down their food for a second?
I'm so, like, I don't know. I've picked up so much dog poop in my life that I'm like, oh, let's talk about vomit. Nom 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 nom.
Okay. So when I had to have, I'm kind of like doing this, trying to figure out where I can be.
Right.
Like with this. Perfect. So,
Oh, wow.
big line, and this is not even all of it. It goes all the way up to my breastbone and all the way down to my pubis.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and this little guy right here is
Uh-huh.
not an offset belly button. That's where I had a feeding tube for a year.
Wow.
For a year.
For a year. And I don't have a belly button anymore. I am basically Kyle XY, but without the cool alien stuff.
Oh, God.
So,
So it's yours. Don't worry.
I mean, all I know is my belly button's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
The
But
thing,
in terms of like the complications, the hernia complications, and the kind of it almost like killing you, and I mean, is that eased out? Do you feel like you have control of your body again?
for the most part, yeah. The last year was extremely chaotic for my husband and I, so I definitely fell into some old patterns of being like, I can't deal with this. Let me eat my feelings, and that's something that I still have to work on. But I've maintained around a 200, 210-pound weight loss since, and I reached that like in 2008. But when I was really sick and I was in the hospital for 6 months, I was 5'9" and 125. It was the first time I ever had a doctor say, "Hey, you look good."
Wow.
Oh, dear God. Oh, dear God.
Totally serious.
Wow. So you're practically in danger of your life in the hospital, and the doctor says, "You look good."
No, yeah, it's like my husband, then boyfriend, actually, I was in the ICU and the doctors kept saying like, well, we need this to happen, and if this happens and she survives, then maybe this happens, and then she survives. Like the way my husband tells it, it was like it was almost like a Jenga tower. Like you just kept stacking things on top of each other, and at the very end they're like, and maybe you'll survive.
Wow.
And so I woke up, which was not something everyone was hoping for, but no one really expected. And the first thing I heard was my boyfriend going, "Hey, honey, hey, I really need you to get well now because we need to get married." And
Aw.
and all I can say was I was barely conscious because there's a lot of really good pain drugs, and I
Nice.
was on a ventilator, so I couldn't say yes. So here's my boyfriend asking to marry me in the middle of this hospital, and him going, and me going, so I had to get a piece. Finally, he figures out, oh, you can't say anything to me, and handed me a notebook where I wrote yes, yes, yes.
Aww.
Like romantic.
Yeah, and then it was, I mean, that's another thing. It's like why I don't dwell on how terrible it was because, like, I spent the next 6 months in the hospital, and it sucked. Like, I'm not going to pretend like there was any day where I was like, this is the life. But,
Yeah.
you know, like, he came and visited me, and he figured out how to do dinner and a movie in a hospital room, like, like with good food and
Wow.
things like that. So, I don't know, like, in a weird way, having my surgery go so horribly wrong over the course of a few years ended up making me appreciate life and appreciating health
Mm.
much more than I think I would have otherwise.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, I guess so for me, I suppose I've been very fortunate because the main problems I've had really are just certain foods I can't eat. Because what they do with the type of surgery I have, they make your stomach like a tube, a sleeve. So it's a little bit, you have a little bit more air surface area than you do with the gastric bypass.
Mm-hmm.
But I have the same problem with the water issue. You can't just chug water, so I have had
It's
periods.
the worst when you're thirsty, right?
It is. It is. So
Mm.
I have had problems with the dehydration, and
Mm-hmm.
not to be gross, but we're talking truthfully
Do
here.
it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Do it.
the
Speak it how it is.
Mm-hmm.
constipation because of it, which has been terrible. I've never had such terrible constipation. I didn't realize that constipation can be that bad, but it
Yeah.
can.
Oh,
Wow.
oh yes, it can. Like I always have milk of magnesia in my bath. Like things I never thought I'd have in my bathroom. Milk of magnesia. Like
Citrate. Yep.
yeah, and then because I mean I only have half of my intestine now, so I actually have the opposite problem a lot of times. So it's like
Yeah.
milk of magnesia right next to like giant Costco-sized bottle of Imodium, and it's like every day it's like which one, which one's
Wow.
it gonna be?
Wow.
I have a question about how kind of your self-image or thinking about like body positivity, how that has changed since you've had the surgery, and you know what that's like. I mean, people talk a lot about the difference between kind of the mental aspects of struggles with weight as well as the physical or genetics or you know what kind of makes up our body. I'm curious for you, after having the surgery and losing so much weight, how has your kind of body image or your self-image not even necessarily improved, but changed in any way?
Well, for me,
Oh, go ahead.
No, well, you went. I went first last time, so.
Uh, for me, it's not that my body image hasn't changed for like in a positive way. Like that much I can definitely say. What I can say more accurately is that I think that what I see myself as in my head is closer to what I see physically. There's not that really giant disconnect between who I think I am and what I think I can do, and what the husk carrying what I think I can do can do. It's like I don't know, maybe this makes sense for you, but it's just like I grew up with always like this constant battle between me and who I think I am and my body as if it's like a totally separate thing. And so now it feels a little bit more like, no, all of this is me. And I don't know, it's more calming, I guess. It makes me feel like I'm more connected.
Like you're actually in your body as opposed to.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like I am warring against the enemy so much anymore.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And do you? Danny's taking us on a walk.
I have to plug it in. But now everybody gets a nice view of my apartment. No, I think you said that beautifully, and I think it's something I just am fascinated by is the kind of the mental aspects of weight loss and whether or not, yeah, that kind of if it ever really changes and how much kind of self-work we have to do outside of just the exercise, the diet and exercise.
Yeah. And Amanda, would you say, because you said that a lot of the things that motivated you to get the surgery were health related.
Yeah,
After having gone through what you went through, would you say that you feel healthier now, or is it that there's just different areas of concern now?
a little from column A and a little from column B.
Okay.
In some ways, yeah. I mean, I feel more like myself. I feel like when I'm going out and I'm talking to people or I'm representing myself to people, yes, like I feel more natural in my skin, and I'm not nearly as afraid for people to see me, even without makeup and in my cleaning clothes. But once you remove the physical impediment of the weight, it really does highlight the aspects of your own psyche and your own fears really kind of come out to the light, and you like now that you don't have any weight to blame it on or any excess weight to blame it on, now you go, I still kind of feel like crap about myself and I don't know what to do about it now.
Right.
I think that's why a lot of I don't know, Avita, if you've ever run into this with any other friends that you had gastric bypass, but one of the biggest things for me was people falling into different kinds of abuses with alcohol or with drugs or with, adrenaline junkie stuff. I mean, I know I drank way more than I should have. Granted, some of that was being an agent because agents are naturally expected to be drunk assholes, but
You had an image to live up to, didn't you?
I really did. But it's like when I graduated kind of from being an assistant to being a junior agent, it was expected that you dressed well, you looked well, you wined and dined clients that you were not reimbursed for, and that if you didn't drink, you couldn't be trusted. So it kind of naturally became almost like an alternative substance to abuse instead of food.
Right, right.
Yeah. Well, I attend this support group meetings once a month. The first year after my surgery, I didn't go, which was a big mistake. But all last year, I started going, and I found it helpful. And I have heard people at the meetings say what you're saying about replacing it with other things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I try to be aware of that because I find myself at times and I talked about in the support group getting angry that since I've lost weight, I've noticed how different people treat me differently, and it just really pisses me off.
Oh,
Yeah.
I get so mad. I get so mad.
I'm the same person.
Right.
My personality really hasn't changed. So why am you now talking to me or treating me like I'm a human being when
Can
before
you give an example? Could you tell a mini example of like a situation where that's happened?
Let's see. It's more it's more how people say things to you than it is what they're actually saying.
Uh-huh.
Like when I would go in to get my car fixed at the dealership, it was almost as if, like I gotta go, hey, yeah, I'm here. Since I've lost some weight, it's like, oh, hi, can I help you? That sort of thing. Whereas before it was always, I seemed like I had to always approach people to get them to help me out. Little things like that I've noticed. And like I said, it makes me angry because it says to me that, well, again, it goes back to what we've just been talking about. Oh, so because you have some weight on you, you must be a worthless individual.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you've lost some weight, now that you've lost some weight, that means you must have some worth that I can now be bothered with you.
Yeah.
That's the part that really, really angers me. And and I have to say too, part of my weight issues too was a protection for me. I knew it was a protection for me because I did have some sexual abuse issues as a kid, and I ended up that was my protection. So that's another thing I have to watch for because if guys look at me too long, I get really anxious. I get really like I want to just start eating everything in sight again. That's another reason I do the support group meetings too, because other people have those issues. So talking to other people has helped me to keep me on this path because the good thing for me has been I don't take the blood pressure medication anymore.
Woohoo!
And my A1C has been down to normal. That's the blood sugar levels, and it's been down to normal. And before then, the doctor was telling me I was in metabolic syndrome. I was pre-diabetic. So I figured, that's what keeps me going is the health part, not so much the looks part. Because if I concentrate too much on the looks part, it actually raises my anxiety.
Yes. Yeah. And
Yeah.
they say and they say that's true that people who are more anxious about their body are less apt to treat their body well.
Mm.
And that the more accepting you are of who you are, no matter who you are, no matter what you look like, the more accepting and embracing you are of your body as it is.
Exactly. And it froze up again.
Whatever end of her point was, it was spot on.
Exactly. It was. It was. It was definitely spot
How,
on.
I was about to say something really profound, and that was it.
No, but it is funny what you started to say, Dawn, about how you view your body, how you view yourself is, unlike Evita, when I decided to have gastric bypass, I was, like I said, I was 365 pounds, but I had absolutely no comorbidities. My heart rate, exactly what it should be for someone my age. Blood pressure, low for someone my age. All of those kinds of tests that they use to say, like, this is, when you put on weight, this is how you get these conditions, I exhibited none of those. And so when I decided to get the surgery, honestly, in more ways, I felt like it was a chance to make people see what I saw inside. And it was only after then that I ended up with, crazy medical problems. But my heart rate and my blood pressure is still fantastic, and I still have trouble getting 2 days a row of exercise.
What about your own personal communities? So your families and your friendship communities, how they responded to kind of the shift and change in you, and if it was, did you notice also certain kind of behaviors? Did people treat you differently, and how did that make you feel?
I think I ran the spectrum because I went. My parents were scared, but ultimately they grew up with me, and they were the ones that knew, like, how badly I thought I needed this to change. So they were ultimately supportive. My brother's my buddy, but both of us are all like, you're an adult, you make your own decisions. The boyfriend I had at the time threatened to leave me for mutilating myself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that turned into some really long, drawn-out fights, and honestly, I should have known to leave then. It took another year and a half before I left that relationship. But yeah, no, I will never forget him saying, like, literally saying, what the hell is wrong with you that you have to mutilate your body? I don't want to stay with anyone who's that fucked up.
Wow.
And I was like, great.
Not real supportive there.
No, not super supportive. It was, definitely the opposite of, after we broke up and I'd been living by myself for a while and then met my husband, where this is the randomest thing ever. I was training for the Nike Women's Marathon up in San Francisco, and one of the people in my pace group happened to work for a plastic surgeon that specialized in cosmetic surgery for bariatric patients.
Hmm.
So basically all he did was like like help with abdominoplasties and boob jobs and stuff like that. Well, his partner in that practice happened to be one of the doctors on the syndicated show, The Doctors.
Oh,
So through the grapevine, this travels, and I got asked. I was actually asked by the producers of The Doctors. So, would you mind going through, I don't know, around $75,000 worth of surgery so we can talk about it on air?
Wow.
I went, sure, no problem.
Wow.
I'll do it. And my husband went, I don't know how I feel about fake boobs. And I said, hey, you just don't know how you feel about them now. Wait a few weeks when they're set in, and then you can try it again.
So you did do that? You did kind of go through the kind of reconstruction after the massive weight loss?
Yeah, I had a full body lift. I had my breasts fully reconstructed and
Wow.
had implants put in, so they actually like have a shape now. I had an abdominoplasty, a thigh lift, a back lift, and then they, for whatever reason, decided to do some liposuction just to smooth it all out.
Wow.
Avita,
Wow.
Avita, what about you and your community, your family, friends? Any sort of big changes or something you'd like to share?
just um, well, I had the surgery after my mom passed. I know she always was concerned about my weight, but she never saw me after having the surgery. As far as my brothers go, I mean, they thought I looked good. They weren't, so I didn't get really any like, oh, you're perfect now, or oh, why did you do that to yourself? So it seemed like everybody was pretty much neutral as far as family goes. Um, as far as friends, again, just maybe commenting about how much weight I lost, but nothing about anything else to make a big deal out of it. And I did think about having an abdominoplasty, but I had a friend who had one, and it seemed like she also had problems with having the abdominoplasty. So I don't know. I kind of figure, well, as long as the Spanx works for me, then you know, it's not like I'm going to be going out there doing love scenes of porn. So hey,
Always a good distinction.
I don't have to worry about anybody seeing
Yes.
my hanging belly. So
Wow. Well, there you go. One thing is, I know we're getting short on time for you, Avita. One thing you had mentioned when we talked before that I want to give you a chance to talk about is what do you wish you had known before you started the whole process? Now that you've gone through it, what do you wish you'd known ahead of time?
oh, I wish I had known or realized how important it was to have the support, particularly from other people who have gone through it, how supportive that was. And also, I did start seeing a nutritionist, which helped because you would think that because I have an RN, I would know. Well, they don't really teach you about nutrition in nursing.
Right.
I learned different things. Like, for example, I used to eat cheese like crazy before. Now I don't miss it, barely tolerate it because when I do, it just bothers me. Foods that didn't bother you before and now bother me. I used to eat a lot of rice, and again, I can't do that anymore. So
Mm.
just trying to get other things in. And one of the things I learned from the nutritionist was, because I told her, I said, I never used to like sweets, and now all I want to do is I crave sugar. What's going on? And so she told me that you probably need more protein, again, because you have a smaller surface area for digestion in your stomach. You know, you don't always get enough nutrition. So I also still have to take the vitamins too. I still have to do that every day. But now I've realized to up my protein, and usually like I'll try to fill it in like with these high protein shakes from time to time just to get my protein levels up. And I realize she's right. I don't crave the sugar as much because I remember my aunt when she started gaining back weight. That was one of the things I remember seeing her do was like she would eat these little sugar candies, and I'm like, why are you doing that? And that probably was one of the things. She probably was craving sugar for some reason, and you start doing that, then you're just back to where you started from.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole reason you went through all this pain and agony,
Yeah.
over. So, but one of the things like I said, the main thing I did find was the support, and because the hospital where I had my surgery at, they offered a support group for free for people who had the surgery there. So I find that it's been helpful.
That's awesome.
So that's the thing I wish I had done the first year, not just the second year.
Right, right. That you have that support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the other thing too is what was saying before is that you're right. As opposed to 10 years ago, I had to go through a psychological exam. I had to go through the nutritionist and dietary exam. It's like they make you go through all these hoops now before they even approve the surgery. So, so that was one of the things too, is that I think the psychological part. At first, I was like, "Why do I have to do this? This is ridiculous." But I think now that I look back on it, I think it was quite helpful. And actually, at this point, I'm thinking about continuing on, probably seeing them again, see where I'm at. It goes back to what you were saying about mentally, how it affects you mentally,
Mm-hmm.
how this whole process does, and it does. I mean, trying to deny it doesn't work, because that's
Right.
what I try to do.
Right.
But it affects you. It does.
Interesting.
Are you good? You gonna head out, Avita?
Yes,
Is there anything you want to pitch before? Like anything you're working on? Anything shows coming up? Any big projects?
I wish.
Someday. Next time you're on.
Yeah, next time, because like I said, I wish there was something big I could pitch, like, oh, come to my book signing.
Yeah.
But that's not coming yet. It'll be this year, but it's not coming yet. I've told myself it's this year, but it's
Absolutely.
Nice, nice. And you're writing under the name, the reason that it pops up on the little screen is Rachel, is because you're writing under the name of Rachel's son.
yeah,
Just
that's what
so everyone knows who to look for.
yeah, that's what's under there. But well, I just use that for the internet. I mean, once I have my book, it'll be my own name.
Okay, great. Good,
Yeah.
good.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
That's just my internet name.
Your alias.
Yes, that's it. That's it.
Alias.
Okay, well, I really enjoyed this and enjoyed talking to everyone.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really talking to you.
We definitely have to do this again.
Oh, we will.
Awesome.
Have a
Awesome.
good night.
See ya, Vita. Amanda, do you want to take that question as well? What do you wish you would have known ahead of time going into this process? Because you had a pretty steep learning curve there for many years.
Yeah, it was funny because my mom and I one time were like I was going to a new doctor in between her and me because I couldn't drive yet at the time. We were trying to remember all the surgeries I've had.
Wow.
And this is like last year, and then that's when we realized I had not gone a year without at least one surgery since 2006.
Wow.
And it's crazy because the bad news is I had to go through surgery every single year for 6 years, and the good news is I have probably some of the best world-class doctors in gastroenterology, in gastrosurgery, in endocrinology that I could have ever possibly hoped for, and they all work together really well.
Nice.
And I think because I have that kind of team, if there's anything I wish I had known before, is that losing weight it's not a cure-all. It's not even a cure some. It's a cure one thing, your weight. And while I'm really glad that I lost the weight because it opened me up to this whole other series of wow, my nutrition really sucks. Wow, why do I keep getting sick every time I eat beef? Oh, turns out I can't digest beef, so now I'm a vegetarian. Like things like that. I, all I wish I had known is that it wasn't going to fix everything. It was just going to make one thing easier so I could focus on all the other things that were so much harder that I couldn't even face.
Right. That the work wasn't done when you got the surgery. The work was just starting.
Yeah, it's just like what everyone said to me when I got married, where they said, the wedding is the start.
Right.
Marriage is the journey.
Right. Right.
And that's what it's been like for this.
Very cool. Wow. Well, I'm glad you're still standing. I'm glad you're healthy and that you're loving life, because
Yeah.
you've had quite a path to walk.
Yeah, in the worst moments you find out just how good people are.
Nice.
And there was one particularly funny. I was in the ICU, and it was when I very first met my dear gastrosurgeon, Dr. Miguel Birch at Cedars-Sinai, who is the best surgeon at gastric bypass and repairs and everything. And he introduced himself to me, and he said, by the way, I'm from Boston. I was a teaching surgeon at Boston Medical Center. And I screamed, and he freaked out, and I said, oh my God, you're affiliated with BU, which is my college, Boston University. And he said, yeah, I'm a proud terrier, and apparently under the influence of many drugs, I proceeded to give him a whole bunch of restaurant recommendations because he and his wife had just moved out here. While I'm in the ICU, and it's been like 5 weeks since I've had anything to eat or drink.
Oh my God!
Because it was all through IV and stuff. And I'll always remember one of the first things he said to me when I saw him outside of the hospital, and he said, I didn't want to tell you this at the time, but I have to say, when people are on really heavy painkiller medication, I mean really heavy painkillers, their true personality tends to come out. And I have to say, you are the first person to ever not think about yourself and instead think of feeding me.
Oh.
It's like, of course it sucks, but then you have moments like that.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Great. Wow. Well, is there any last thoughts that you want to share with us?
I would only say, like, if someone ends up watching this, and especially because Evita's her journey has been very different from mine, ask questions. Just always ask questions, because there's so many vast differences in our experiences, age levels, time, the kind of techniques that were available at the time, that if someone is thinking about doing this should be their first stop, to listen to people talking about it. And the more people they talk to who have had it, who perform the surgery, who live with it, with complications or not, it will help them make the best decision for them. No one should ever feel like they have to make the decision because everyone else thinks they should be thin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it really has to be born from education, knowledge, and a lot of, I would say, self-searching. That's something I wish I had done more of before I went ahead with this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good advice. Really good advice.
Thank you.
Yeah, and hard one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It was a tough lesson to learn.
Yeah.
And I continue to learn it every day.
Oh.
But important to hear, right? I mean, we don't hear these stories, and that's why it's important for us to get together in whatever communities and ways that we can and talk about it, because I think, that's what's most important, is that we're sharing all of these different perspectives, so that if someone does watch this, they can be informed and they can ask questions and do what's right for them.
Yeah, and I think there is still such a stigma attached to surgically changing parts of your body. And particularly with this kind of surgery, that people are so afraid of talking about it that I don't think they get the best information they can. I mean, I wrote a piece for Exo Jane kind of about the same stuff about this time last year, and it was one of the wildest things was in the comments section seeing you kind of saw like a third, and a third.
Never read the comments. Never read the comments online.
Well, I
sometimes people say awful things.
Oh, people have said terrible. I've worked in television, Don. People have said terrible things to me, to my face. So what am I going to read that's going to be so much worse? But it was funny because reading the comments, it was like a third, and a third, and I actually made a point to be in the comments because there were some very genuine questions there, and a third of it was people being positive or asking genuine questions. A third of people telling me that my surgeons were barbaric and should have their medical licenses revoked for chopping up my body. That was kind of extreme. And then the last third of people, which are just trolls, people being like, "You still look fat." I'm like, oh, well, you're always gonna be stupid, dude. Like,
surgery can't change that.
I know, so it's just kind of like, and moving on.
Lord, oh Lord. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on and telling us your story.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for sharing it. And as Danny said, these conversations are really important to have. People need to know. So this was terrific. And do you have anything that you want to tell us that you're working on right now? You're writing for yourself, which is awesome.
I am writing for myself. I am currently working on 2 books that I can't really say anything about yet, but they are being worked on. But if anybody wants to see any of my day-to-day writing, talk to me day-to-day, I am one of the moderators of one of Jezebel.com. I'm a moderator of one of their subblogs called Groupthink, and I can always be found on Twitter at SmithWellette, which is mostly pictures devoted to my cats and funny things I think about throughout the day.
Cool.
Nice.
Don, what are you working on?
What am I working on? Oh Lord. Good heavens. Well, I am. I'm working on my taxes a lot right now.
Word.
That time of year, folks. And yeah, also doing some bookkeeping and working on other people's taxes. So that's taking a lot of my time until April 15th. But got a couple of little sci-fi things going on, and I might, fingers crossed, all that sort of thing. I'm toying with the idea of coming to Chicago at the end of March. It's a web series, a web series that I was in. Our second season is debuting at a science fiction convention in Chicago in March.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yep, and so there'll be a big panel and a big party, and I feel really left out being all the way out here in LA. So I'm going to see if it's possible to get myself there for that, because I'd really enjoy that. So
you're never alone, Don. I mean, I'm here. I'm here.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you.
I just couldn't pass.
I still have to hang out.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. How about you, Danny?
Los Angeles is a big city, but whatever.
Exactly.
Los Angeles may be 13 million people, but if I could run into my ex at a stoplight on Melrose, I can run into anyone.
Right? Random events. How about you, Danny? What are you working on?
But we're down to about 5 weeks before first rehearsal of a play I've made for Adventure Stage Chicago called Worthy, which is a play for young people that talks about a lot of the themes that we're talking about tonight. It's about identity and about expectations that are placed upon young people, and how media and advertising is kind of all wrapped up in that. So I'm excited. So Worthy is what I am all consumed by.
Sounds great.
Nice. Nice. Very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, thank you, ladies. And I think we're going to sign off for the evening, but it was great chatting with you and with Avita as well. And we'll see you, all of our, all of our crazy fans out there. We'll see you next month, last Wednesday of the month, live for our next For Fork's Sake.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me.
So fun. Bye, guys.
Bye.